Hey, mate.
How's it going?
Oh, yeah, just another day.
Yeah, I'm still working, unfortunately.
My website almost melted today.
Oh yeah, I saw your article. Yeah, I watched the some of the videos on the website, and I'm like, are we paying for what? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's rather disappointing, but you know, it's kind of the reason why we're here having this discussion at stupid hours of the evening, because I think there's a lot of things that need to be done.
Well, it's just I can't manage the data I need to manage if they don't get their act together. And literally looks like I might have a tender with the Victorian government to test the first digital planning approval system in Australia. But I can't do that if they don't have the ability to sort of better manage the data that needs to go out.
Try and do it on Revit. You can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Victorian government's going to get pretty rude shock when they get all the applicants and so on and so forth. But it's just, I'm having a hard enough time drawing and then recoding everything that needs to have all the properties in it, even though I've got all the saved attributes. But every time they change something on this program, they haven't done it in a way that you can then update existing files.
Yeah. Well, my suggestion is don't go near it. That's my. It's the thing. You're a glutton for punishment, mate. There's no way in the world I'd be even bothering trying to do tenders like that.
It's just going to lead to potential development sites because the government wants us to do a digital and normal planning process at once. So,
yeah,
anyway.
I know it's all about the potential work, but when you know the tech's not there, there's no point in taking on that risk and liability.
Yeah, everybody. I'll let you know how I go. Anyway.
Hey
guys.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Isn't
nice
it,
to meet
isn't
you
it
all.
so good that our host is running late? I have to smack him one.
At least somebody could get us inside.
Well, that's the positive. Hey, that's why I run the thing, right?
Nathan, your microphone seems to be quite low.
Oh, okay. Sorry, mate. I'll give it a bit of a boost.
Perfect. Thanks.
I'm trying to talk a little bit quiet so I don't wake up the whole household at 11 p.m. at night here. Plus, sometimes if I just hit the sound card a little bit too hard, this sucker then can deafen you guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, mate.
Hi, Jorge.
Hi.
So sorry, I was running a bit late. I see Greg is still not in the meeting. How are you guys doing? Thanks, everyone. Rui, Agron, Rogelio, Sebastian, Nathan, Mateo, and how do you pronounce your name? Koshik?
It's Kaushik.
Koshik. Okay.
Yeah, Kaushik.
Great. Yeah, it's great to have you guys here. I'm super excited. Look, Greg is here. Greg and we're super excited that we had such a positive response from the community. Hi, Greg.
Hi, guys. Hey.
Hi.
And I mean, I don't know where are we going to get with all this. I really hope we can do something great. Anyway, I will let Greg explain and present and demo more in the technical side, because to be honest, he has been the one coding and going into the deep of the API. I think more on the design side and so on. But we have been doing this with a lot of excitement and a lot of hope. Obviously, it's not perfect, so I don't know if any of you had the chance to try it. It's not a finished product yet, but we hope that we can make it really great as much as we can in our side. Of course, Graphisoft needs to at some point let us play more. But what we were hoping is we gave this first push. I don't know how many months have been working on this, Greg, maybe 5 or 6 months on and off. But at some point we realized that, well, the two of us by ourselves, we were not gonna get much farther with the time that we were able to put in the project. And of course, this it's also a financial effort from our side too. So we realized that it would be much better, and probably we will reach much further, involving a community of people that is as excited as we are. So we rather put these to the service of the community, and try to make something that is extremely good and very well done. And some of the skills that we required are beyond ourselves. So we welcome any help from your side. As I said, we need more than programmers. Like, of course, we will love to have somebody else helping us. Hi, Eugenio. Helping us, moving forward this in the technical side. But we're gonna need people that help us to give us ideas on the workflows, which that's gonna make a big difference, because we can create like so many really cool notes and and Grasshopper nerdy stuff. Until we put that into like specific and real workflows, I don't think that it will have a big engagement on the ArchiCAD community. That we're very practical people, so we want to get exactly examples, maybe help us creating some training files, or even just testing the plugin, giving us good feedback and helping us move this forward. So anyway, without further delay, I want to leave to Greg, who is mainly the brain of this plugin. Again, thanks everyone. Thanks Nathan, and I'm not sure if Sebastian is also in Australia, or yeah. So thank you guys for being awake so late and so accommodating.
So
Greg?
just before you start, just please note everyone, this is being recorded. So with regards to privacy, please just understand this is being recorded so that people within our community that exists now and may join the community later on may listen to or observe anything that occurs on this recording.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So no naked people running around.
Naked. Yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah, that's nudity and bad language.
Language I always have.
Well, I don't know how to start with this, but it came to my mind one situation that probably all of you once in your life experienced, especially in high school or where we were teenagers, is when your parents left and you're on your own in your home and decided to invite just a couple of best friends for Friday night, and at the end it ends up as a big party, rave party. Mentioned by everyone in the school after all, and with tremendous amount of people and all those things. So I feel a bit like that with this project now. I'm really surprised and excited with the response of you all people, and somehow I realized that the community-based development of I don't know, any software or any goods somehow it got really huge value. So I hope it will be in our case it will go in the same direction. So, well, first I would like to just start from the how it started with this, because you probably all know you all know this functionality, experimental functionality that was introduced in ArchiCAD 24, I think, not 25. This Python palette and this that the ArchiCAD API was somehow wrapped into a Python library, yes, and accessible through just scripting without need of creating a special add-on and coding this in C++. And of course, after when it was introduced, there was like a couple of examples given by Graphisoft, and not every API function or command was covered with this Python API. Yet it looks like it has had a potential of automatizing some processes, especially deriving the data from the model or writing something to the model. And since I learned myself coding, especially Python, so I found it okay. That's something I can test. At least I understand how to do it. And then because probably you know that there is this Python palette introduced into ArchiCAD, which in fact it's just a simple compiler of the scripts. So you can run those scripts on any other editor. This Python palette, it's not necessary for running the scripts and communicate to ArchiCAD. So then I was trying to do this on the other editor. But since I'm a huge fan of visual coding, this paradigm of node editors like Grasshopper, I realized that okay, maybe those functions that are available, maybe we could wrap it up into a visual interface and just put each function of this Python API, to put it into the node, and just to see how we can interact and if it's possible to construct complex algorithms, things just in the visual way, right? So that was and my first idea was to just find some resources or tutorials to create this node editor from scratch totally. But then, okay, it would be possible, but then I thought that maybe I could do it in using Blender to create those nodes in Blender. Especially, I'm mentioning that because that was in a Discord conversation. This topic appeared. But then I thought, okay, if we have a Grasshopper that has a live connection with ArchiCAD, so already covers some functionality like picking up, selecting elements and creating elements. So why not to use Grasshopper as a ready environment, especially that it allows directly to create the Python scripts and wrap them into the nodes. That's why I use this technology. I don't know C#, and so I couldn't just make the proper compiled nodes. Couldn't write it in C#. That's why I choose just this simpler option of doing this in Python. And then I found first obstacle because I assume that you somehow know about this, what Graphisoft introduced us to. So I will just share my screen quickly.
Yeah.
Just to show the.
Maybe yeah. Make a really brief introduction on the API, because I think that some of the, I think Nathan especially mentioned about what is possible, what is not. So yeah,
exactly. So that was introduced, and also it was introduced a package for ArchiCAD, but for Python 3, and this what is crucial, in fact, and this is the base of the development. So if any of you would like to join the development, this is like a repository, like a reference documentation for all the available comments. So this will be also the answer for those of you who would like to know if it's possible to do this or that. So the first conclusion is that it does not cover all the ArchiCAD API, so we don't have access to all the options. So we cannot do anything. It's more focused on the metadata, on the properties, on the classification, reading and writing, and some comments about the navigating and view map and layouting. And they are quite simple. And of course, we were waiting from version to version of ArchiCAD that they will expand these functions. they did it once. They made an update that just get the access to the attributes, and for that's it. I thought that maybe to ArchiCAD 26 there would be something new, but there was no any updates. But I'm mentioning this because I have one idea for this, how community could possibly theoretically develop more of those functions without just waiting for a Graphisoft development.
Bridging Graphisoft.
Yes. So that's how I started without going into the details at this level. I started to just take in all those functions and create. Idea was just to take one function, one comment from here, and just create one node that would just resemble this command. That was the main goal, and that's why we, after the months of just this work, we created this bunch of nodes that are available now. And meanwhile, also I started to analyze the BIMX API that it's available as well. And it appeared that the configuration of this extension for BIMX, they are based on JSON file as well. So that's why it was easy to incorporate it and create the special nodes that just make configuration this extension much easier without need of doing any coding. So the first step, I have here a super simple example of some elements. So we have one copy of ArchiCAD open here. Also, I have a live connection established to this file. It's not necessary for this add-on to work because it just communicates with ArchiCAD through a port. So it's like separate communication port for this API functions. But then that's why the difference between live connection and this tapir plugin is that in fact they are complementary, because we can use some of the nodes from the live connection to get the elements and to work on them. So the first step we need to do each time we want to start with the add-on is to establish the connection. And for that, we got this node that it's called the connection port. And all the nodes, most of the nodes, they work like this, that they have a print to panel output, and some inputs, they are in fact to control what we see in the print to panel. So thanks to this, we have some kind of like a menu where we can choose the options. So this is like a workaround how to choose from the many options. So in this case, when we connect it, this node is doing the scan for the available nodes, available ports, and is doing like connection with each port. So this is time consuming also. Because there is like 40 ports available. thing is that we can have many copies of ArchiCAD open at the same time, and we would like to connect only with one of the copy or all of them to make changes in all the copies, so all the projects at the same time. But in this case, I have one copy, so I have just one element to choose. This is the number of the port. So basically, this is the first thing we need to do, and then to avoid this node to search for a port each time we'll do some changes, we can turn it off to put false, because this number of the port is saved into the global variable of the Grasshopper. So it's there and will be used by other nodes to communicate to ArchiCAD. So to avoid scanning available ports, we just turn it off. And the other thing is something that is called run globally. It's for some functions, if we have nodes that are setting values to properties or reading, if we don't want to do it constantly after each refresh, we can also set it to false. So it's like a globally on and off for the other elements. So okay, let's maybe start from the total basics. So we have four, in fact, groups of nodes. One is classifications, and here we are covering possibility of getting the classification systems and setting the class classification to an element. What is missing for the moment is getting the class of the element. So I will just show you to get back to the reference. You can see that we have classification comments, and here we have this, for example, get classification of elements and set classification of elements. And these JSON definitions are put to nodes. So that's how it works. So okay, let's see first what classifications we have in the project. So for that, we take the get all classifications in the system. So the node is now reading all the classifications that are available. And again, we have we can print it to panel. So we put it here, and we see that we have 3 available classification systems, which we can see here. For example, if we check it here, we have 3 available classification systems. And since we have 3, we have to pick the one. So that's why we have here the options to pick. So I'm taking the slide node just to pick from 1 to 2. And now I can choose from which classification system I want to see the classes. So I have here as an output class system ID. So if I connect it, you see we got the ID here. So I can go to another node, which is get all classifications in the system. So this is another one, and I go pick the panel. And as you can see, as an input, I'm connecting this ID here, and then I have to again put some slider just to be available. Okay. And now it will read all the classifications, all the classes of this system. Yeah? So if I will change it to number 2, it will show all the available classes of the of this system, which was the So we are now with the API system, and these are the classes of this system. Okay. So I should go here at 2. So then we can automatically set class for each element. Okay, so but how to pick the elements? That's another thing. Oh, you can see here that we have a complex structure of this classification system. So we have a building, and then we have some subclasses, right, of this element. So let's say that we want to change this object, this element to have a different class than it is right now. So it's a facility management and it's building, and we want to change it to, let's say, plot or. So we need to pick the element from the project, and for that we got those elements here that allows us to pick the elements. So for example, we can get elements by type. This is made of morph, so we can get elements by type. And again, it reads element. Probably it needs now to be turn on the run globally. So we need to wait for. Okay, I clicked the other one. Okay. No, I need to open this one. Yeah. Oh, maybe I will show much simpler solution, since we want to pick only one element. As you can see, the performance of the nodes are also something that we need to a bit work on. So let's change it to morph. So I would like to pick exactly just this element. So that's why I choose the standard node, and I will pick just this element. Okay, so now I have the element picked, and we can see that now this is the element, and what we need to get is the ID of this element. So for that we got a special node that it's called get element ID. So if I connect it here, then it reads just the element as I picked it up.
Unique ID. Yeah.
So maybe I will, just to show also some other functionality, I will select 3 of those elements and click here to set up the 3 elements.
This is, sorry to interrupt, this is when you can see that the current live connection and our plugin are actually complementary, because what we have done so far is to create some selecting options that are usually large selections. So pick all the elements of one type, of one classification, with one type of property. So select like many objects, right? In some sort of like a parametric way. But if we wish to select individual elements in the, say that you have 200 columns, but you want to select 5 of them manually, then you can use the actual current live connection in order to pick the elements that you want manually, which is what Greg is doing now.
Yeah, exactly. Those options here get all elements, and by type they will select all elements in a project by type. So all morphs, or walls, or slabs, and all elements, it will just select all of them. So of course, in such cases, we would like to have more. If you want to select something more specific, that's why we use live connection node to select the elements. So for example, here I select these 3 houses that are made of morphs, and then as you can see, then they are if we go to list item, no, list item, list length, you will see that of course it will just show the number of the output as the number of those elements. It's crucial because we will use something like serialization of the data output. So we will combine outputs. If there is like 3 or more outputs, we would like to have it as a one output that will just could be used as an input to another node. So in this case, we would like to change this the classification to something else. So we choose the other classification like apartment here, and now we want to set classification of elements. So we need the agreed internal number of this class. So this is this number. Then we need the internal number of the class system. So it's here. And then we need element IDs. And if I will just connect it like that here, it will show the error since it's sending three, it's performing this action 3 times. And in fact, we would like to send one bunch of data that consists of 3 individual GUID numbers. So for that, we need something that it's grouped in this block as a data serialization. So we serialize list. Thanks to this, we have the output here. But if we connect it, you see that now it's a list, but in fact, it's just a one element. So in fact, the output, if we go to list length, we will see the difference. That it shows that it's just the one output. So one set of data is at the output. And this is what we are connecting here. And now you see that the classification is changed. Yeah. So this is this will be useful in many cases. For example, with BMX, if you would like to make hyperlink to a, probably you saw those movies where when one hyperlink allows you to select a bunch of elements. So to achieve that, we are serializing the list. So we have like one bunch of data, but with multiplied IDs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing that I want to say, like this is a quite simple example, but I think it's already showing the potential of this. So first of all, I want to just stress a few points that we've discussed. One is using the plugin, we can connect to any of the open ArchiCAD sessions, but we can connect also to all of them at the same time. Think about managing attributes or managing classifications of, I don't know, a bunch of hot links, for example, that are all, all of them together. So that could be possible. The second thing is the current live connection. With the current live connection, sorry, you can set classifications, you can set properties, etc. But you can only do to new elements that you are creating in fact from the scratch using the Grasshopper. What we are doing with this plugin, which is something that is new, I think, and it's important for people to understand, is that we are manipulating elements that have been created in ArchiCAD in any way, it doesn't matter, with Grasshopper, with the API, with anything, or manually. And then through Grasshopper, we can access those elements and we can rewrite properties, we can rewrite the values of classifications and so on. So we need to create new elements from the scratch. We can read the elements and then we can change the elements. Change only the data. At the moment, there are no API functions that can handle geometry. So it's only focused on the data and properties at the moment.
Yeah, this is, I'm showing this what I wanted to show in the previously. So we can pick the elements just by types. So again, you see that we have a list of all the types and we are controlling this by this slider. So for example, we see that there is no beams in this project right now. If I will go here and just create one, it should probably we need to
maybe we need to refresh the global variables and
refresh it. Yeah, the main issue here is a bit with the performance. It runs in Python, Iron Python, that it's in Grasshopper, in Rhino.
You have it there.
And
It's already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's here. You can see that it found this beam and just gave us the ID, so we can now do something with this beam, like maybe the same thing with I think it's undefined. Okay, it's the matter of changing the classification of this element. But let's say it's a plot, and if we provide it here, it probably so now I provide this element to this, so you see it automatically perform change of this classification system. So of course that's how we can build build those elements. The other thing that we covered so far, because this is with classification and okay, and the other thing is the properties. And with properties, I divided this into two kind of properties, built-in properties and user-defined properties. And this is quite interesting here because normally this Python API, it has no distinction between them. I mean, you can get all the properties and then you have to pick from the bunch of all the properties available. You have to pick the one that you want. And with this solution, at least they are divided at the beginning on the built-in and user-defined. User-defined are those that you define normally in the classification and properties system, and built-in are just those that you can only, they are read-only properties mostly, except of, I don't know, ID of element that you can change. The others are, so for example, here we have, let's say, maybe I will go here just to show back here. So let's go to, let's say I will change it to ID element to show what is the ID. Okay, it's building one. So we will try to read this, read the ID of this element. So how it works, again, we have the node that we need to connect to panel to see what we have. So these are the groups of built-in properties. So they refer to type of elements. So we have a general, we have geometry, and anything that refers to the types of elements. So ID of an element is in general. So already by default it's set to 15. If you want to set this, we need to just make a slider from 0 to 30. Okay, so we can connect it. Now it will go to revision. So we will have a chance to pick properties from the revision group. And yeah, again, one of the things that I'm interested in, I haven't tested on the Windows machine, and I think that the performance might be somehow due to differences of the
Mac and
systems.
Windows systems.
And this how Rhino and Grasshopper works on the different systems. Okay, so I have another panel here. Maybe I will put it like that. Okay, and I will connect the properties of the certain type. So now we have a revision type, and here is the properties of the revision. And as you can see, it's done very simple way. If I go to 2 here, so we will go to geometry. Then we will have a general properties of geometry. Okay, so you see just the built-in properties, they are named like this, that the first part of the name is the like category. So that's why I was able to group them here. right? So then we can, as you can see, there are a lot of them here. So okay, let's try this ID. It's the simplest and but colorful example. So we go to general, it's 15, and we go to the like all the properties that are categorized as general. And okay, so as you can see here, we have we got a lot of them, and already it's picked up this element ID. So you see it's number 1, and we can change this by assigning another node here.
value.
Yeah, but I will just put it here.
Yeah, just answering on the fly to Sebastian. The unique ID, it's something that we cannot change, of course, but it serves us to select the elements. But as you can see now on the screen, in the general properties, you have access to the ID of the element as well as the hotlink ID. So I don't know if the hotlink ID is something that is a property or we can change, but we can try. For sure, we can read it. I'm not sure if
yeah, we cannot change. Of course, this unique ID is something that it's assigned automatically to every element in the ArchiCAD project, and in fact, it's something that API is connecting to any element by this GUID elements. And
but what about the hotlink ID?
I think also there is something like hotlink.
It's there.
It's
20 something.
It's
29.
there.
Yeah, it's here. But you need to have a hotlink here. I never test this one.
Okay.
I think it's the ID of the hotlink. Let's see what it. Well, we need to read the to get the value of this element. So I would like to show you first the whole process. So what we have now, we have an ID of this certain property. Yeah. So we picked it up in this way, and then now we can use it. So how we can read the data? We have here 2 elements like get property value and set property value. So let's start from get property value. And we see that, of course, we have here the output. It will be the output we want. And then we have a property ID, elements that we want to read value from, and option to serialize this list. So I will connect this here. So already he knows what property we want to read. And now we would like to have, again, so let's pick the one that was here. Okay, get element ID, get element ID. Okay, and probably it needs serialization. It's only one, but it's the mother of the form.
Right? The format, yeah.
Of the format, right? So we got the ID of this element. And now we can connect it here, and here we'll see the result. So it will read the value. So as you can see, it can read the value, but also this JSON API, it's not giving us only the value, but it's giving us a type of this property. In this case, it's a string. And status. Honestly, I don't know what status means. I found every property has this normal status. It doesn't matter for the moment. So, and this is like, as you can see, it's a list and it's a dictionary. So it's like value, name, a key name, and the value here, and again key and value. So to obtain this particular string of the ID, we need to like separate this. So for that, we got the node that is called like the serialized property. So you see that we put the property here as an output, as an input, and it will just divide it into the 3 outputs. So exactly here we can see that I go to, so I have a value here. If I will copy this, so you will see that we have this type and status, but we are interested in this. So that's why we can obtain the ID of any element. Okay, and if you would like to change this ID, we need to use a set property. So set property value, and again we need to provide the property, provide elements serialized, and we need to provide a value, which in our case will be just like 1 element. This might this node is quite it works in this way that the number of elements we provide, then we need to provide the same number of values. So each element will have the separate value. So in our case, if we want to set like a new value ID, so if you would like to get the new some new value here, we need to provide it, but we need to provide it as again as a bunch, as a serialized list. So for this, I think it will be enough if let's try to serialize like that. Let's see how this structure will look like. Okay, so we have, you see, it's simple because we got just 1 element, so just take 1 and serialized, and now it could be connected and it should work. Okay, the print to panel. Okay, we see the value is set now. If we would like to have more elements, so we need to create this list with the same number of values as the number of elements. So I think we can do it with the value series. I will just show this one just to show you. So we have a value, right? And now I have to show how many times it should be repeated. So let's say I go to 10, like 3. You understand? So if we have 3 elements, we need to create the same value 3 times to. So this node, in fact, needs some improvements. For example, that we have 10 elements and 1 value, and it should be like 1 value applied to 10 elements. Now it's very simple. Exactly the number of elements must fit the number of new values. So these are those small things that we need to work on.
I must say, Greg, this is a very typical, not issue, but it's a typical behavior on Grasshopper side. Like I always refer to this plugin. I mean, I would like this plugin to be close to a plugin that it's called Elephant, that is for maybe data management and so on. So in Elephant, you have to do the same thing. So if you wanna set 20 values to 20 elements, you need to repeat that value 20 times. That I think, well, of course we can improve from what is already being done, but I think this is something that it's relatively easy to understand, at least for now.
Exactly. Let me try to maybe quickly to show you that we have now 3 elements saved here. So we need to just make this element we have list length, so we show it 3 times. Okay, it was 3 before, so you can see the difference. But now this output depends on the number of elements we provided. So that's how we can let's say that I will delete those and put the values here to see. Okay, so these are IDs of those elements, and we would like to apply it now here. So elements must go here. Okay, they need serialization again. So the ID of element ID, element IDs, then the serialized list, and this we can provide. Let's say I will disconnect this one. You see, this is the moment when the run globally is helpful, because I want to connect it, wire it up without running. Okay, now I would have to go just here, you know, you remember, to the connection port and turn it off, wire it up, and then turn it on. Otherwise, it will start to work just during the wiring. So we have element IDs, and set values are here. So yeah, like that, it should work. Or I mixed up something, no. Okay, so the source is the same. You see, you have those three. Okay, it changed the values. So that's why how we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so these
So-
are the. Mm-hmm.
No, I just a couple of things. So I think the concept is relatively simple. So we have all this bunch of nodes with the selection nodes or the live connection nodes. We select the elements that we want to work with. Okay, I think we need to work a little bit, as you know, as part of the development on the filtering options of the plugin. And I think Aitor will, and people who is familiar with this Elephant plugin, like the filtering, for example, you don't want to get sometimes all the columns in one, all the columns or labs in one file. Maybe you want to filter through a property value, or you want to filter through a classification system or something like this. So I think that that's on the pipeline somehow, just working on filtering options for parametric selection of elements. But once you have the elements, you get the ID of the elements. So those unique IDs are the ones who are basically enabling all the other nodes to work with the element. And then you need to find the property inside ArchiCAD. So even if it's a built-in property or a custom property, you need to just find it using the nodes. So you, for example, bring the built-in properties. You just need to look at the numbers, find the one that you want to change, read or write, and then you basically find again the unique ID of the property, and that's the piece of data that is going to enable the next of nodes to read or write the properties in the node. There was a question though about serialization, and we knew that this was gonna come, because it's maybe a foreign concept for Grasshopper. So the way that we have set it up to now, well, I'm being too generous with my contribution. The way that Greg has proposed to set up this is through the use of serialization, which is a concept I think when you're programming in JSON, in order to compact the a group of data or a list of data into the least amount of packages to send. So that's why the serialization is actually it's there in order to improve the performance of the plugin. I mean, it does work with the list, but when it's moving data, instead of moving it in, I don't know, in 200 separate branches, it just compacts it in one line of text, one string, and then when you deserialize the data, it goes back into the tree structure that used to be. So again, once we start maybe getting more technical in further meetings or discussing with possible contributors, we can, I think we're happy, both of us, especially Greg, to to discuss improvements on the performance. I think Kaushik had already mentioned maybe building the nodes in a compiled C# mode or a Python but compiled plugin. So this is a little bit beyond our capabilities. So we're very, very happy to see how we can improve.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just showing again now the difference between this what goes as output. So we got 3 elements here, and as we can see, a list length is 3, and the elements here are just sent as 3 separate bunch of data, right? So it's performed like 3 times this node, and the list, the serialized element just take them into one string and just serialize them, like save them as a JSON object, let's say. So now it's like a list of strings, but sent as just a one string, in fact. So if we go here to see the length of this, see it's just like one element. And this is also very helpful with the BMX options, where we would like to create the hyperlink to a specific bunch of elements. So thanks to this, we can it was create link element. I think, yeah, show that was the case here, where we have a hypermodal link. So maybe I will go here, because we will not. I'm not sure if to cover the BMX functionality here. I assume you were watching the last video, most recent video we dropped. So basically, it explains everything, the basic concept. So I will not show it exactly, but I just would like to show this serialization process as a. So we need to provide the name for hypermodal name. Okay, we provide the name. Then we can provide the link name. This is just to see the link name, not to see the whole URL, but just to see link name. Okay. And then we have to provide these elements that we want this hyperlink to lead to. So in our case, we can take those elements here. So we have this bunch of elements. I will take them here. And as you can see, they are 3 elements, but as one. And this is what we need, because when we put it here, we got the link here right now. So imagine doing this by hand or in Excel or something. That's why I think it's not commonly used in BMX to create such links. It's relatively simple as a rule, but annoying to do it by hand. So you see here is the link, BIM application, hypermodal, it's the name, and element GUIDs. So these are here we should put the GUIDs of all elements that we want this link to lead to. So you see, thanks to this serialization, it just treated as a one string assigned to this attribute of the link. So that's why it got used in many situations. We make a use of this serialization.
Just before we go super technical, I think there is a bunch of questions in the chat that I'm trying to respond. Okay. But I think maybe again we can do another session, like most focused on the actual programming, technical aspects, because I think Aitor had some suggestions whether we maybe can use a Python list instead, or some other stuff. So maybe I don't know, because I can tell that not everyone might be interested in these specific things. So we had just I don't want to be annoying, but we've been here for an hour. I think we had a little agenda. This is a little introduction on the plugin. So as you can see, Greg, what it has done is go to the API site, analyze what are the aspects or the commands that are available in the JSON API. And basically we started creating or replicating the commands in the Grasshopper side using the Python nodes in a quite simple way. And that part can be definitely improved. Something that we have been doing already is discussing some particular workflows. So some of the nodes are not actually one command, but several commands compiled in one workflow. So for example, like changing the, I don't know, changing or writing a property, finding elements, they might have a bunch of these commands already packaged into one node. So I think one idea is, I mean, definitely we need help with the development side, because I'm not a developer, and Greg is the only person that is pushing this really on the technical side. So we will appreciate any help that comes. And secondly, we need to come up with also more workflows, because obviously it's better to have like a little compiled workflow that, you know, that serves the purpose, than having to place 20 or 30 nodes just to change the name of the or the property ID. If changing the ID or the property value, it's something that we're gonna do, most of us, with the plugin. Better to kind of like, you know, create the minimum amount of nodes, so this is more user friendly. So working on these workflows and the things that we want to do with the plugin, I think that's something that we also will appreciate help getting ideas. You know, could we do this? Could we do that? I think that's something that will also be very, very helpful. Obviously, testing the add-on and giving feedback. We've been obviously now presenting, sharing screen with the Mac version. Greg was saying that it might not be the best idea of the actual performance of the plugin. So maybe if you guys can individually go and test it out in your computers, maybe you know, some of you guys work on Windows, some of you on Mac. So it will be really helpful if you guys can test it in the different platforms. Sorry, Abraham, can you mute yourself? Because I can't really hear myself talking. Or yeah, thanks.
Okay.
So testing it in different aspects, finding these workflows, and yeah, and I think that's currently the idea, to keep adding more functions to it. We haven't touched anything with layouts. I think Greg was mentioning there are a few commands that are available for listing layouts, creating layouts, some of them for views. We haven't really tested all of these or started testing all of these functionalities. So it's in the roadmap to start working with this. And yeah, obviously functions that are not available in the API are going to be more challenging to achieve. Although I think Greg had an idea on how to use the C++ API as well in the.
Yeah.
Maybe you wanna tell that.
Yeah, I would like
about
to just to show the coverage stage now of all this JSON interface. So these are all the functions they are available right now. Sorry, and the only 1/3 is covered at the moment. So mostly they are, as you can see, concerning the attributes, but only 2 attributes: classification and properties, and element listing. And what's still not touched is this Addon Commands. This is something I will say in a moment. Then anything that concerns the navigation, view map, layout book, element geometry. It's very simple. It's only about the bounding box of elements. So it's nothing to do with editing or changing geometry of elements. And it's components, and one component from classification, like get classification of elements. So this is what I showed you, that we can only set the classes and we cannot read them yet. So this is something to be done still. And one of the interesting rabbit hole, I would say, is the command that it's called an add-on command. And this would allow us to develop any ArchiCAD API function through a custom add-on. We could take any function of ArchiCAD API, put it to our custom add-on that will just expose it to a JSON command. So in the same manner, our plugin could just send queries through this command and execute this add-on command. So thing is that we have and there is one guy I've come across, and I'm thinking maybe you know him. I tried to contact him at some point, and he developed this add-on in C++, and then he's just using this to connect it with Python scripts and just to take more functionalities from ArchiCAD API. I will send it here to chat for you to see. Maybe you know him, or I mean, its word is very small. But anyway, if there are, if you are familiar with the C++ and writing add-ons, my idea was to talk to Graphisoft team and at least to ask them if they, because if you download the SDK of ArchiCAD API, this whole set of tools, there are like sample projects there, and they are allowing to start with some simple functionalities, but they are just working sample projects, right? So what I thought that if they don't have resources to develop this Python API functions, if they provide a well standardized sample project to create this add-on, so the community could use it, so not to spend time to create it from scratch, and just pick the functions and comments from API that we think that are more, most relevant and people would be interested them to be working, and just write them in this add-on, so then we can use it here. So thanks to this, we could, in fact, extend this functionality with our own ArchiCAD APIs. So
well, even if it doesn't help, we can find somebody who is good in developing the C add-ons and have this person or group of people to help us develop this custom add-on. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, since
there's a guy in Austria who can do that.
Yeah, no, I know a couple of guys, so we can maybe contact them and try to seek help from them.
He advertises.
Definitely, I wouldn't.
He only works on ArchiCAD with C++.
Okay.
He's on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I'll put him to the group so that he might be able to help you guys with that, because he actually advertised that his business is making APIs for ArchiCAD using C++, and he's based in Vienna.
I think I know him, Bernard something. I already talked to him.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have one person that is helping Enzyme at the moment, building custom C++ add-ons. I'm not sure how familiar he is with the whole API, but I can definitely reach. He's in the community. He couldn't join today, but he's in the Discord channel, and I can also reach to the Graphisoft Singapore people. They have one. They're always very helpful. Not like most of the people in HQ maybe. So they are always willing to help, and they have one specific guy who is a programmer that is just developing C++ add-ons. So if they're willing maybe to help a bit.
Actually, Jorge, Marcelo
Hey,
here.
Marcelo.
Hi,
He's
everyone.
hiding. He's
At the end of
hiding.
this month, I think on the 28th, I will have a session of users here with Graphisoft Singapore. And I was thinking maybe I can bring this up there with them because I'll be face to face with them. So let's see.
Definitely.
I just need to understand better the requirements. So basically, what we need is this API to be able to expand the JSON commands, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe if we can put in like a very small, PowerPoint presentation or something that I can, or
Yeah.
maybe you guys even join that session because Enzyme is also in Singapore, right? So
Of
we
course.
can,
We're everywhere.
yeah, so we can reach out and I think that's the perfect session here to do that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Marcelo, we are doing a
So
big launch event in mid-August too.
Hey mate, how are you, Nathan? Good to hear from you, mate.
I'm going well, buddy. I'm going well.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. Glad to see you all here. Cheers.
Guys, if I
so
may, Jorge, let me
Sorry?
just ask you something. So this execute add-on command that the Archicad JSON API exposes, which should allow you to access any of the commands from the original Graphisoft API, right?
It should, yeah.
In theory, yes. That's how.
In theory, yes. Okay, so in that case, because tapir is based on the JSON API, so one of the core developments would actually be to expand Graphisoft JSON API before expanding
Graphisoft
tapir.
does. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
so it's actually,
since the tapir it's not covering all the already existing comments, so it can go and cover them. But for now, we already know what is missing, at least with this layouting and viewing comments. There is something missing, like for example, automatically put views on layouts, right? You can delete views, you can rearrange views, you can create layouts, but you cannot put the views on layouts, for example. So what's, it's like a halfway. Okay, I can create from the Excel list, I can create the layouts, but then by hand I have to put, and I can list all the views I have in my project, but I cannot just put them on the layout automatically.
And also create stories parametrically, which is insane.
Yeah.
I think it's the same limitation parametrically, right? At the moment, so even with the Grasshopper and Rhino, it also can't generate that. So as far as I know, the only way, as I've seen a firm doing that, of automatic placing of drawings on layouts, is always through C++
API.
and through the API. So I'm thinking about IDEA. Jojo has managed to sort it out. So he always goes through there. From what I know, is very hard not to go through there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's the idea, that this add-on could just go, to expose those comments. Of course, we say in theory because it might be more complex. But anyway, that's somehow that's the way we could examine if if it works.
Yeah. So I think, well, to me, we have several lines of development. So I think, first of all, it would be great if whoever it's joining the development team or can contribute, we should discuss maybe some technical aspects of it. Whether we keep the same format, I don't know, we have this compiled plugin in Grasshopper, or I don't know. I'm not a programmer, so I'm more in the Grasshopper side. So I think that would be the first discussion before starting expanding maybe the capabilities. I don't know. This is something that maybe we should discuss. So that would be one thing. Then it would be going to all the missing functionalities that the JSON API exposes and finishing that. That it's only, as I said, like individual nodes, that each node will do one thing. But maybe in the meantime, we also get some feedback on workflows. So maybe we can create some what we call like the workflow nodes, which is
So
not
it's
one
almost like
function, but
compiling.
maybe,
You want to compile almost like a whole script into an action button, right? For those common actions,
yeah,
right? Okay.
correct.
I think that's a
And
good entry point, because if we get, I don't know, half a dozen very common things that everyone wants to do, the adoption rate is much bigger. And
yeah,
you know, that reminds me of the first scripts that Graphisoft launched as the first Python scripts, right? So they came out with recipes. They're just like kind of teasers.
yeah,
So yeah, I agree that that could work out, and it's almost like idiot proof, right? Whatever you guys send out, it comes out, and everyone is like, "Man, I want more of this," right? More options of this. So it creates the hunger for it.
Well, I think the idea, the whole project, or the whole idea behind this project, is to try to bring the Python API or the JSON API or ArchiCAD API to a much broader, much larger group of users that they might not be knowledgeable on scripting or Python or whatever. So the easier we make it in the Grasshopper side, also people that don't know Grasshopper might find it easier to reach. So anyway, that's I think the concept. But and then, well, so we have these two lines of development, and the third one will be exploring this add-on custom add-on to other C++ capabilities into this Grasshopper side. So any any comments or any ideas? Because we have been,
George, I want to jump to, I asked you some questions, but I sent to you by WhatsApp, so you have time to answer. But I want to just make a comment, nothing to do with programming, just I'm completely out of that kingdom. But that's from the user point of view, and case study. I understand, just to get it right, I understand that especially in big projects where we have been suddenly have to reorganize them, properties, IDs or things like that. I understand this workflow is very powerful because you have, you need to select hundreds or thousands of elements, finishes or doors or whatever, and recategorize things. I think this is the purpose, right, of this. I mean, one of them. Then my question is, for what I understood from Greg, is that we could also even apply to the management of the file, like selecting a bunch of views and reapply graphical rights, reapply model view options. Would that be something that could work as well?
Potentially, Greg. I haven't really reached that part of the API.
With the views, I mean,
views. Sometimes
with the views, this is something we haven't covered yet. So those examples that Graphisoft provide with this selecting things and checking, for example, this example when you can clean up your view map, so all unused views are sent to a special folder, right? So it's like a halfway of functionality, because if you can select the view, you can check if it's on the layout, you can take the details of the layout it's on, but you cannot place the view on the layout. So if you think of this as a beam manager or beam coordinator, if you want to really do a very fast project organization from the lists or something, it's something missing here, right? So at the end, you have to do it one by one, just to place them on this. So for now, it's not possible. With this JSON API that is provided, it's not possible. But
I was not. I heard you mention that before, not to place on the layout, but just to manipulate the settings of the views themselves.
The view settings.
Combinations. You know.
Are we able to?
Yeah.
But you mean like creating the views as well? But
you know, we are changing the layer combinations of a project, you know, many times. You add more items, you need to make another layer into layer combination, and you need to duplicate, rename it. And then you say, okay, now we need to resubmit 200 drawings, but I need to apply to 150 of them the new layer combination that somebody of the team developed. Things like that, you know.
Yeah, okay, so it's not possible right now. Yeah, so it's something that need to be, even now I look at the elements, so you can only move elements, you cannot change you cannot change the settings of the saved views, for example.
Yeah,
but this is possible from to when we access the API.
The C++ API should be able to provide that functionality. Yeah.
Are you trying to establish any connection with the JSON team at Graphisoft? So we don't.
So we're having a week actually with them on the 18th or 19th. I can't remember now.
19th.
Because I tried. Well, I've tried to reach them a few times. They were quite busy with the amazing launch of the 26th. So they had a lot of things to learn. And so anyway, they said they could only meet us afterwards. So we're going to present these in a similar way to them. And my idea was, of course, try to collaborate with them, not to eat each other. So if we're developing this and they suddenly start to develop the same thing, it would piss me off a lot, because we've done all this work for free for them. So it will be really bad. So I will try to get coordinated with them, possibly get some help if they are willing to. And maybe expose the limitations of the current API and seeing if they're able maybe to give us a little hope in that sense. But I don't hold your breath.
I just know that I think they had some problems getting some good feedback on what you actually want the API for, and that's because anyone didn't know what to use it for or what they had in plan. But as we develop this and work on this plugin, we will get a much clearer sight on what we're missing, and maybe if we could get a feedback loop, so eventually stuff we add in the API could be added.
This is what we somehow missing now, this feedback loop. Now it's starting, because the first step was just to cover those functions to show that it works in the Grasshopper environment. And then we have a bunch of nodes that we can place scenarios with, right? To see, and then see what is missing and what could be done other way.
Exactly.
So this is the moment for community and for users, to check this and to have a request and wish list.
So to be honest, I invited all of them to the community. So I haven't really been, blocking Graphisoft from being part of this. They haven't here because I don't know, they were busy or they don't want. But it would be great actually to have some of these people, if they want, on the community. Something that I wanted to do it, and that's why we've done it this way. We wanted to push these from the actual user side, from the community side. At least in our company, we've been using the Grasshopper connection a lot, and we've been dealing with all the limitations of it, and so we wanted to drive this process and not leave Graphisoft to start playing scenarios and giving us scripts to rearrange the settings in a theater, and that's it. That's what you can do with this Python API. When the reality is that you can do a lot more. But again, I agree with you, Steve. We need to provide this or have this feedback with Graphisoft, and I'm happy to have them on board.
I guess the live connection is kind of dead project. It's been sitting still for many years now, and even they cannot maintain it parallel with their updates. So it's like working half the year maybe. So it's just a joke. And I think you guys have a lot of experience with the ArchiCAD connection. I abandoned that project many years ago. It didn't work. But maybe you could look through some examples of how you use it, what you use it for. And maybe one of the first things you would add into a custom API would be similar type of commands, like getting lines, getting the wall, getting the window, some simple geometry out of the model. Would be quite cool to, maybe we could throw off the live connection and actually make something that works. That would be
something that I've heard. I mean, again, they haven't talked about it. They're not very open about this. But something that one of the guys I talked to in charge of this Grasshopper site, what they said is that they had been working actively on the live connection, not expanding the capabilities or anything, but rather changing the technology behind of the Grasshopper connection and trying to match it with this JSON API way of things. So if that is true, and apparently they published on the 7th of July a update on the live connection, so it should be more in line with, I mean, I'm talking about the technology. I think the nodes are exactly the same, but the technology should be using more the JSON
what I
API
know,
as we are.
Maybe well, this is I don't know how private this is, but what I know
This
is
is
that
being
at the
recorded,
time,
Marcelo.
hey, so at the time when this Grasshopper connection came out, was kind of right. I think you all know that it was a bit the forefront, a bit ahead of the market, right? There were a few companies like Nick and Seke, Big, and a few that were exploring this. So I know that at the time things weren't developed the perfect way. You guys understand, right? So it wasn't done fully integrated with ArchiCAD and all that. So I imagine what they're doing now, as they're doing with a lot of stuff that is like the core engine, is optimizing this, because I think, you know, as everything, when you start adding a lot of tuning to the car, you also might affect the performance on the opposite direction. So I think sometimes there is this readjustments. For sure, us as users, we also have to push them, and this is a great example of that. And there is already a proof of concept. There is already direction. There is already a lot of energy and power from this group of users. Let's get in there and try to get them excited also about it, and see if they can pick it up, even if it's later on the roadmap. But at least, you know, they know that to be able to unlock the full capacity, they have to do what Greg is pushing here, right? And it's already amazing that we got to this point. So congrats, guys, and thanks for the effort put on it.
Cheers, man. What any other comment? Sorry.
Just a request to have say a developer meeting where we go through how we want to work on this repo, and maybe set up either a GitHub project or some way so we're not working on the same features. I could start implementing some of the commands that are missing in the Python library, but I'm quite sure I will step on something Greg is working on.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. My plan here was to see. I mean, I already know a bunch of people that told me I'm not a developer, so how can I help? So obviously we have separate or we have different ways to contribute to this project. Whoever is scripting capable, then we can set up another meeting just for this. What Stian was talking about, maybe formats and whatnot. And then for the rest, I think I told you guys already, getting ideas from what would you use this API for, maybe examples, even if they're not possible at the moment, but maybe getting a list of things that we would like to see. It would be really useful for the rest of us to start working on, see if it's possible to implement.
next week here in Victoria, we're starting the testing of Australia's first digital planning assessment tool called eComply. It's been developed by a company called archystar.ai here in Australia. It's using IFC, and it's not really, well, I guess if you don't know IFC very well, then you're going to really struggle with our new planning scheme. But I guess what I need is if I can use some of these tools to then use as part of that testing so that I get my data management correct, because there's data guides that were written for Revit that aren't really clear for any other user that doesn't use Revit. So there's properties that I need to create. There's data that I've got to put in those properties so that when I export the IFC, the web-based planning assessment tool will pick up that data. So I guess I need to really quickly understand how to use some of these tools so that I can literally test them if I'm successfully selected by the Victorian government this week, so that you can then start seeing that, okay, we've used these tools to fix the data in the file. It's then been correctly set to the IFC mapping properties to IFC export. But I guess there's no attribute, there's no nodes or anything that deals with that mapping side, or because there's just so many parts where data can go missing in this process, yet I have to be.
If you just shout me a PM, I can probably assist you.
Yeah. Yeah, let's, Sebastian, maybe let's through, you guys
chat,
are all.
But I just need some sort of, when I saw this, I went, wow, this is what I need to be able to finish this tender. But I'm looking at going, well, I know Grasshopper, I know Ladybug. I'm trying to get the Ladybug data into PHPP. And I've been spending weeks, the past 3 months, learning Grasshopper and Ladybug. So I was just wondering, is there like, I was looking for tutorials going, okay, how can I start using some of this? But there's no tutorials yet. So yeah.
It's experimental.
And I know it's but literally
this has been 1.5 man band. So
yeah.
So
I literally am sitting in my home, working from home. I'm here most of the time. So if there's time that you guys have available to maybe explain some of these things, I can show what I need to do so that I can then audit my files ready for this tender. Because if I can show to the government that we can successfully use this planning application, they actually want to build a building using not just the planning application that's being tested now. They're also using a digital building permit application, which is at construction document stage, to assess the building at LOD 400 to then build the building. So literally we'd be running a digital assessment and we'd be running a standard planning and building permit assessment, and then we would be building that building with the builder.
Yeah.
So
let's take this.
So I'm just letting you know what's coming, and if you can help, right? Otherwise I have to do it manually.
I suggest, Sebastian, we can set up in the Discord server, maybe like a little channel there, and whoever, I think Greg and I, we can explain the basic of what it's being done and how to use it. And then if you need to do something that it's outside of the capabilities or the current version, then we will need to develop it. But I'm not sure, what the availability of everyone on this. So other than that, should we just, just super briefly introduce ourselves, because I don't know all of you. I know some of you, but it will be great. We're not so many. So maybe just to be able to, and that's one thing. And the second thing is, are you all guys in Discord? Because I know I sent some of you guys link outside Discord, but it would be great if we could be all connected in the Discord channel. Maybe Nathan, you can start first.
Oh, and I lucky. For everyone that doesn't know me, just check the article I wrote yesterday. No, it in all honesty, it's exciting to see the work that you guys have started to put together. I'm a very big believer in building communities. It's the reason why I've run several conferences that I have and been a major advocate for ArchiCAD across the globe to try and fend off the evil Autodesk. After last night, I start to wonder whether or not I just go and join the dark side. But from my perspective, I've always been driving advanced processes wherever possible. And sadly, I'm not a programmer, but the goal from my perspective is to, in an ideal scenario, understand in plain English what the functionalities that we have access to, because you try and read what is on the API site and it's in programmer language, sadly. And then from those actions, I'd be keen to try and almost document kind of a guide for people like myself, so then they can kind of be able to understand what the possibilities may be. Second to that, the exposure in the group of mailing list that I have available is nearing 2,500 people from the large 24-hour event I ran last year, where we had 1,600 people register to attend our event, making it the largest ArchiCAD user event in the world. So it's about promoting this. And the third piece of the puzzle being, it's all good and well us all sitting here volunteering our time, but we all got to get damn paid. From my perspective, it's all good and well devoting a bit of volunteer time to helping build a community. But fundamental to this is that I'm really keen to try and find ways in which we can fundraise to enable this development to be paid, so that everyone actually that contributes to this, we can't volunteer this away and have other people commercially make money off it, right? You turn around and we donate our time to this, and businesses then turn around and take it and save heaps of money. And what do we got to show for it? A nice warm feeling in an empty pocket.
So on that funding note, here in Victoria, we have part of our planning department called Digital Twins. That's the department that's running this digital planning system. They need to know what tools architects need to be able to comply with these new systems. And if those tools need to be developed, then you may be able to apply for grants here in Australia to create those tools. So if it's about data management and some of the software doesn't have the data management that we need to be able to progress these digital systems that the Victorian government wants, then there might be ways and means to get funding. And that's something that I can ask the digital twin team, because what we're starting to see here in this part of Australia, in this state, is that there's this, the shift is really starting to happen because we don't have enough people to do the assessments and to keep the system running in a manual basis. Like, we literally just don't have enough people. The delays are starting to stretch out to 6 months to 8 months to get a really simple planning application because you're stuck in a queue. So the government understands that this is slowing down a significant part of the economy here in Victoria. So they're now starting to throw money at the digitisation process. So I can say, this is why I sort of want to test the tools in this tender process with the government, because then that will form part of my submission back to the government to say, these are the tools that ArchiCAD users need. There'll be Revit guys doing what tools they need, and then there'll probably be Vectorworks people doing tools that they need. And then the Victorian government will make an assessment of which ones are priorities, because we then need to roll this out to every other architect here in this state. And a lot of the people that will be using this e-comply system, considering it's on
Sebastian, I'm getting tired,
small
mate.
houses, they are small architects that don't have the programming teams that large architectural offices have.
Mate, they won't be able to afford Grasshopper. So that's
The
the other
small
problem.
architectural offices.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to afford Grasshopper.
Well, we're already, as part of our architectural cooperative here in Melbourne, we have a group called ArchiTeam that goes out to the market and is trying to get bulk discounts for software for individual architects. So there is this push to digitize literally everyone. So I don't know, I can ask. It seems like that's what seems to be happening. And the government really realizes that there's a lot of professionals that are being left behind, and they're now starting to play catch up.
With so many people in the room and being nearing 1 a.m., can we move on with the introductions? And as Jorge suggested,
definitely.
you know, take that one offline and discuss the detail of it later.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep at my
let's do that.
microphone in a minute.
No worries. I will set up a few channels to discuss these things separately. So my name is Jorge. I'm from Ensign, and yeah, that's it. I think I move it on to the next. Rui?
Okay, I will maybe introduce as we are the host.
Yeah, Greg. Yeah.
So also very short. My name is Gregor, which is Grzegorz in Polish, and I'm based in Warsaw now. Background as an architect, but always keen to coding, and that's what I like to do: design by coding and code by design. And yeah, fan of ArchiCAD, fan user, I would say. Yeah. So please, next one.
So maybe I could jump in because I really have to leave in 5 minutes. So
Awesome.
just a quick introduction. So my name is Agron. Some of you know me through social contacts, LinkedIn maybe. I'm also an architect, but since 7 years working as a BIM manager, specialist in an architectural company managing 90 people, 65 architects, and 2 different locations in Vienna and Munich. And yeah, my daily business is BIM management, BIM coordination, quality checks, everything in that sort, but also working for the last 22 years in ArchiCAD made me also a little bit of a specialist in this area. And yeah, so also another important aspect in the company is doing or creating workflows, because using the software is one part. What we stumble upon dead ends where the software has limitations of capabilities, and therefore my task is finding workflows either internally in ArchiCAD through other software like Total Commander or Libre Office documents, or even hiring here some external folks to help us with some programming tools. But yeah, this is actually mainly the task that we deal. I'm also in contact with Graphisoft Austria, Germany, and also direct with Budapest, sending them wish lists, improvements, what can be done, but I don't know. They have
let's save that for another call next week, eh?
Yeah.
A ranting call.
No, a professional call.
Yeah, that's a different topic, but yeah. And I have two questions because thank you, by the way, Jorge, for the last minute invitation. I'm interested in this this development because I have been also playing around with the API and been doing some scripting myself. As I said, I'm not a programmer, but I'm playing just a little bit. But my question is, or are these tools available for download to test them?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, I'll send you here. So we have put together a little website for the API. So it's called archicad-api.com. I'm just sending it. And you can go there. You can go to the GitHub repository that we have put together and yeah, download the plugin directly from there.
Yeah, because in this whole presentation, I like quite a lot of inputs and some of the stuff that you mentioned, especially the part where adapting components that are actually in ArchiCAD, which is currently with Grasshopper not possible. And this is one of the aspects that we have been fighting in our Grasshopper scripts. So I would really like to take all of this into our library and try to implement, because we have some scripts like for parking lots or urban contexts using Wallacey. And yeah, I'll like to share also our feedback and help you guys.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. And
perfect.
with this GitHub, yeah, it's the installation process is manual. I was working on doing this small node Grasshopper scheme where it just downloads automatically and installs itself, but it's easy as just copying the user objects into the user objects folder and the script to the scripts. And yeah, further on, I would like to drop also the source files, Python files, for those who would like to just contribute to refactoring and developing the code also.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so sorry, bye-bye. So good night and good day to all of you.
Thank you, Addon.
Ciao. Bye.
Yeah, so maybe I can go next.
We have to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kushik. Well, I'm my base studies are in architecture, but I am actually a computational designer. So I've been working and teaching how to use Grasshopper to program in different facets, from GIS, parametric urban planning, to BIM nowadays with either ArchiCAD or Revit. So taking advantage of the Grasshopper interface and how easy it is to script solutions, and just basically then branching out to whatever output or input you want in this case. And even actually one of the funny things I like to do is actually running live connection from inside, running inside Revit, which is quite funny. I'm also I've also already developed plugins for Grasshopper, and I'm currently one of the works I'm doing currently is programming different languages. My favorite one is Python, and I'm currently doing web development, so working with React, and also starting to learning the IFC.js API that is very new. Yeah. So yeah, any contributions? One of the things that really annoys me is this, that you have, in the case of Revit and the running inside Revit, because it works directly inside of the Revit API, it connects directly to the document. So you have a lot of access that you don't get from the Grasshopper Archicad Live connection. And Archicad is brilliant. Architects love it for very good reasons. It's easier for the architects in the room, not so much for the engineers. But it's disconnected, right? So you have this bridge that you can partially cover with a Grasshopper Archicad Live connection, and now with Tapir, hopefully this can be enhanced. So the fact that it was quite a smart move, because I actually thought that you developed a C# components, like a proper, not proper, but a standard plugin for Grasshopper, which is a little bit of most proper in the sense of which is not a user component, a plugin made of user components, which is the easier way to address it, but the more robust, the more efficient in the sense of programming plugin. Okay, but this approach makes it a lot easier for even newcomers to develop it further. Okay, and eventually one day, when everything is covered and we start hitting performance issues, it might make sense then to bridge and to transfer these JSON API commands and instructions and the logic behind it into a C# plugin. Okay, proper with in the sense that it is a plugin, not a set of user components. But I'm very happy to see that you guys took the lead in this, and actually, hope that I get some time to make some contribution to it.
Right. In fact, we got
Thank you so much.
Inspired by Ladybug plugin, which is written in the same way, as an open Python script. So of course, the issue here is with the performance at some point, but this is the next steps, and how, as you can see, the first step was done. So now we can something to have a baseline for the next steps.
Brilliant work.
Okay, let me introduce myself.
Hello.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Greg, for this starting this on the programming side, and for York. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Thank you for starting this. It's like one of the new things to be happening, to be honest, because usually when it's live connection with Rhino, it's always either Revit or Blender, but not a lot of people have been talking about ArchiCAD, and this is something new for me as well. And something about me is I'm an architect from India, but now I'm based in Germany. I'm working at a company which develops plugins for Rhino and Grasshopper. So I've been using Grasshopper for like 6 years, I think, and also been building plugins in both Python and C# for maybe 3 years now. So it would be awesome if I can contribute somehow to the development side, but also to the planning side, because I believe that coding is the second part. But if you know what to code and how to do it's easy. Thank you for
Definitely. Thanks a lot. And I have received your file for the suggestions. I will check it offline and maybe share it with the whole group in Discord after.
Okay.
Aitor, do you want to go after?
Okay. So I am Aitor from Spain. I am architect, a long time ArchiCAD user, also long time Grasshopper user. I have been developing plugins and for Grasshopper and for Rhino in C# and in Python. And I also have experience in GDL, developing libraries for companies. And yeah, and that's it. And hope to contribute to that project.
Awesome. He's an old road.
Wow, impressive. Okay.
Okay, I'll be next. Just to I feel a lot of empathy with Nathan. He's going to fall asleep anytime soon. So in any moment.
Two late
so
nights
very
in a
short.
row, mate.
Very short, very short. I'm an architect too. I'm a long time ArchiCAD user from, I believe, 2 centuries ago, version 6, so, you know, a lot of time ago. Much more in the design side and the project side and developing code, obviously. And, you know, I'm very excited about this, Jorge. I mean, I'm expecting this is a bit of a slap in the face of Graphisoft to, you know, to start trying to take this seriously, which is the part that Autodesk and Revit has done very, very well. And I think this is a more you know, a capability, a set of tools that need to be developed as soon as possible. And I'll be very happy to, you know, to help in where you want me to be. I mean, bringing coffees, whatever, you know.
I think we can find tasks for you, Rogelio, promoting through your Birras channel or other
well,
stuff.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to say that we have with another 2 guys. I have a podcast named Bimras. Sorry, you know, a joint word between Bim and Birras, which means beer here in Spain. And you know, sorry, it's in Spanish. This is an opportunity to learn another language if you want. Don't miss it at all. So don't hesitate to learn Spanish, but you know, yes, I'll be very happy to give it promotion through Bimras, and maybe we can have a chat in the podcast and try to explain why this is important.
Yeah.
And sorry for my English. It's the best. It's the best thing you have from me.
Awesome. Okay, thanks. Stian, maybe you go after. Just I'm gonna help the.
Yeah, sure. My name is Stian. I'm currently based in Norway. I'm worked as a BIM manager for several companies the last 6 years or 8 years now in Scandinavia. Usually managing around 100, 150 people, like company standard wide. Lately switched over to being a developer full time, working on Spatio these days in a company we started ourselves called Datatrace. Quite familiar with GDL, Python, JavaScript, whatever. So use me as anything I can help with. I'll try to be a bit active in the developer part of the thing, and then also have some experience with general implementation of whatever. So if you feel free to just ask me anything.
Thanks, Stian. Appreciate your volunteering. Francois, how you pronounce your name? Francois?
You said it right. It's Francois. Correct. Right. Thank you, Jorge. I'm from South Africa. I'm also a 22-year ArchiCAD user and was a reseller for 7.5 years. As a reseller with accredited training, certification, and then we help clients with template development and workflows and stuff like that. Since 2016, they dismantled their reseller channel in South Africa, centralizing everything to a local office against our recommendations, but they recovered over a period of 3 years, I'm happy to say. But for 3 years, the ArchiCAD users in South Africa really struggled as a result of that decision. So what I think I would be able to contribute is I'm still supporting ArchiCAD users for tech support and training and such. And what I thought I'd be able to contribute to your efforts is testing, and then also promoting the tools and the processes, and introducing these workflows and ways of thinking to this community on this side.
Awesome. Thank you, Francois. Thanks for your contribution as well. I have Eugenio on camera, and then Marcelo and Abraham. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Nice bit of feedback. That's about it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me properly?
There is a noise there.
Yeah, I think it's the alarm at the back
If
of
you turn down,
people.
if you turn down your speaker while you're speaking, so your microphone doesn't pick up your speaker, then we won't talk while you're talking.
You know what I mean? Is that okay?
No, it's still, we can hear the static. It's quite hard to.
Okay, it's okay then. Maybe I can introduce myself later once I'm in a better position to do so.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, so maybe I can jump in to introduce myself. I mean, I'm also a co-founder of Ensign with Jorge. Although the last year and a half, I changed side to the dark side, not the dark side like Autodesk, but I've been working for Graphisoft, the gray side, getting darker. Now I changed to Graphisoft to support the partners in Southeast Asia region. You know, the implementation of BIM in these countries still very early, very young. So it's actually a very nice point in history to help the partners there to. I mean, they need to sell ArchiCAD, but they need to understand the necessities of the market, of the governments, of the users, and I just help, like providing best practices, knowledges, examples, case studies, and whatever is needed. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm not involved at all on the development of ArchiCAD, so nothing of that is my fault. But anyway, just to add to no, just to add on that topic, we should do another call as Nathan was saying, because I think that I have access now to the people. I can write them a message, but of course nobody takes it right getting from my colleagues. So I'm trying to be very polite. But what I was telling Jorge and Nathan is that what I would like is to at least help to create a real conversation with the product team, because some of them were very open to talk. Some of them no, but some of them were really, really open to have a conversation, because, I think it's quite obvious what's happening. So anyway, in another call, maybe we can align, as Nathan was saying, a professional, serious way, just not complaining, but saying, guys, listen to a few points. I think that's relevant. But on the other hand, for this project of the tapir, I have no idea of programming anything, but I'm really, Jorge knows I can help with the project, how to use this, how useful it can be when we've done or the crazy projects we have developed. I started to see how this can help, and yeah. So anyway, thank you guys, and congratulations for Ensign developing things even more than Graphisoft itself. So yeah, good job.
Great. Just reading from the chat, because I think maybe Abraham cannot fix his background noise, but he's Abraham from Kenya, working at Grasp Design, pretty good with both Python and Grasshopper. Looking forward to contribute and help in the development. I can help with coding. Awesome. So for all of you guys that are offering help in the coding side, I already set up a developer channel in the Discord side, so maybe we can invite, or you guys can show up in that channel, and we can try to set up another call specifically to align in the technical aspects. I think we missed Mario Sacco, that left or had to leave, and the other Mario, that they were also happy to help, but maybe I will reach out to them and in private, and yeah, it just got a really long call at the end.
Mario is doing some other stuff as well with Grasshopper with an API at the moment, with that little facade tool that he's doing.
I know.
He
We're
said,
developing the same tool pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? And that's why I think having these conversations and being somewhat transparent about what's going on means that there's no duplicated work.
Yeah.
Do you say that Mario is developing the same thing? I didn't know that.
Well, no, not the same thing as this plugin, but what Nathan was saying, that he's developing a GDL object now to create facade panels. And Greg and I, we have been working on a very similar GDL object to use from the Grasshopper side for a year now, but we didn't manage to put it yet on the market. But anyway, I think we were working in the same, pretty much the same thing. Hopefully we can make it complementary and not eat each other's. But anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah.
And I have a comment for you guys that have or for those guys from you that have contact with ArchiCAD or graphics of the staff. You know, Tibor, I think it's Tibor Laboranzi. I shared it in the chat and a link to a GitHub, because this guy has been developing add-ons extending the JSON API with add-ons. So he have shared some examples on how to do that. And maybe
this one here.
This one is the guy to maybe to reach contact with this guy. Maybe it could be interesting, because he
this
already,
is
already has.
I think that isn't it this what I was showing you, the channel on the YouTube?
Maybe.
Probably, maybe, yeah. But exactly, this is what we know. No, it's not him. Okay.
I didn't show. This is another person. Because the guy from you shared, it's like a very old man. At least
and he's like native and English native.
Yeah, and
so maybe
it doesn't work for Graphisoft.
Yeah, but this
maybe
is what,
Eugenio, you can
exactly
try to
this
reach
is
him.
what we will need at some point. Either Graphisoft to prepare the sample projects for SDK, or as we can see, some people already made these add-ons. So it's just a matter of then.
I'm meeting on the 28th this month here in Singapore with Yuri Nitrai. He, I know, is very familiar with the API because he's been the guy responsible to do everything with BMX API. So, you know, would be good to see how we can, you know, politically push this in. Eugenio, maybe we can work a little bit together on this and see how we can get it there. For those who don't know me, maybe now is a good time I introduce myself. I turn on my camera. I'm one of you. I've been a long time user of ArchiCAD as well since university days. I'm a long time converted. ArchiCAD has brought me to almost all four corners of the world. Met amazing people like Nathan, Enzyme team, and so on. I'm Portuguese. I was working also for Graphisoft for about 8+ years, and now recently, around a year ago, I joined one big architectural firm to kind of lead also this digital design transformation that every country and every big firm is still trying to do it. It's been interesting because ArchiCAD has been at the core of that, and obviously as some other big managers or with similar related roles have been talking about trying to figure out which workflows, which tools can enter the workflow and smoothen our life, because at the end of the day, as architects we need to freaking deliver the project, right? So this is just is just a tool. And while Graphisoft is giving us the best option in the market, we'll go for it. if something else comes out that is really much better, we can't do anything. We have to, you know, reconsider and see which direction is going. That's why we're spending our personal time here now to figure out ways to improve this and to keep at the peak of the productivity and so on. So yeah, let's work it out together, guys. My contribution is, you can count on it as far as I can reach. And
Okay.
glad to see such amazing group of people put together working in the same direction. Cheers, guys.
I love that
Cheers.
you're lying in bed, mate.
Yes, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should, mate. In this side of the hemisphere, we should be sleeping. Our beauty sleep, we're owing it.
Oh, mate, it's a beauty sleep.
You mentioned, Marcelo, you mentioned that you will meet with the guy who's responsible for BIMX development. So,
Yeah, yeah.
well, today I didn't present this part of this functionality, this bunch of nodes that are allowing to create, to extend, to make the extensions of BIMX. But there is like a small video exactly showing this. So
maybe we can do a bit of an offline preparation for that.
Yeah.
And see how I can bring that up. The good thing is, because I was their colleague for about 8 years, you know, I can kind of you know, speak politically, trying to shake them a bit different. As everywhere, there's always, you know, politics involved. Then let's see how we can work this out. We also have Eugenio here that is quite passionate and a good advocate on this. Now that I left Graphisoft, I still have some very good relationship, but I can say some stuff that before I was a bit concerned.
A bit shy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just
I
for
was
you,
a bit
Marcelo, just for you that, and maybe for
Okay.
some of you who didn't come to the Discord channel through this
Okay.
website. So we put together
Thank
this
you.
little website where we have a little bit of the background on the project. And then if you go to the training, in the training we're dropping, of course, you know, as we have the time, and especially Greg who's creating these tutorials, but these are short videos, maybe 1 minute to 5 minute videos that are displaying some of the capabilities of this plugin. I think you can see here in the title, I haven't really changed the title from what you gave me, Greg, but you can see which ones are regarding BMX or the ArchiCAD API. And then, well, at some point, we will start adding descriptions. So this is, I'm telling you, Nathan, that you were saying about putting together like a guideline or something. We started already because we're managing this through an app called Airtable. So we have kind of like mapped all these nodes in Airtable, and this website is actually reading from the Airtable database. So we will start adding to each of these description, maybe linking to sample projects when we have the actual sample projects. But in this case here, you have a list of what is being developed now. I mean, some of them have the description, some of them not. But the idea is that you are, you know, able to come here and say, okay, I don't know, BMX, and you will be able to see whatever it's related to and see the descriptions and whatnot. So, I mean,
Great stuff, guys.
as we,
Great stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so as we have the time, we will also be updating this for people to come here and see it.
Because essentially,
Guys, I think it's
essentially that becomes the ingredients, right? So they're the ingredients that we can then mix together to create to bake a cake.
Yeah, correct.
That was the idea also, to make those nodes at the beginning just one function, one node, and to be able to create complex algorithms. In fact, a good proof test would be just to copy all those examples that Graphisoft provided on this Python API with this parking lots or seats, just to make them in our plugin. That would be a good proof of concept. but there's still some functions missing that allows that to do. But that would be the good use case. The first use case is just to copy what they prepared as a rough script.
Exactly. So anyway,
very quickly, one thing is we need to leave these guys, but this person that Aitor was saying, it doesn't work for Graphisoft anymore, but I think I can reach him. He works for something developers. It's called Interactive Brokers. And yeah, I mean, I think we could reach. But yeah, anyway, George, we can talk later about you have a call on Tuesday with the Graphisoft guys, right? When is the call you have? On Tuesday, okay. So I think all of the join because I was trying to pressure when I was with them, but yeah, should be interesting conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, especially to Nathan and Sebastian for connecting from so far away and so late. Sebastian, we will connect offline for this tender that you have. I think some of the guys were happy to give you a hand, so let's just take that offline. And thanks everyone for your time today and for your availability to help this community. So yep, I don't know, we can just leave it here and maybe we can connect in Discord and arrange the other meeting for the development. Oh yeah, Sebastian, sorry, you didn't introduce yourself. I thought you did. I think you're mute.
You're muted.
Yeah.
I'm an architect here in Victoria. I'm part of a architectural cooperative, which is a group of small architects ranging up to practices of around about 5 to say 1 to 5. And we as a cooperative go to software companies, go to government, go to suppliers that we need for our businesses. And then as a group of people of 900, we then sort of agitate for things that we as small architects need. I'm also a builder, so I'm going back to do a Master's of Construction Management next year. So I have a lot of questions about these tools in relation to how a builder would use them as opposed to how an architect would use them, because I'm not using ArchiCAD anymore, like just doing architectural documentation. I'm now starting to use it to do quantity takeoffs and to do programming and scheduling. So there's a whole other bunch of things that's much further down the track. But as part of this thing that I need to talk to you guys about, the state government is also doing this digital costing system as well. And how do we then take all these things from the BIM file and put it into this online system that they're developing? And they've asked a lot of small architects to participate because it's small architects that will be using this system here in Victoria. So I guess this is why I'm asking for descriptions of how to use it, so I can give it to my cooperative, they can run through it, I can put it up on their Archi team Facebook page, advertise that they're available, and you might find that you'll got a whole pile of other architects jumping on board.
Perfect, sounds great. Thanks a lot. Guys, I think we all need to leave now, and thanks a lot for your time, and well, big applause to Greg. I think he's
thank you very much, guys.
Pulled this, he's pulled this from so
the big applause will be when we will reach the next step,
next stage.
Next stage, and that will be a good moment for parting. So thank you guys for being today, and I hope we will start something new, something exciting.
Yeah, will do. Will do. Okay.
Yeah.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
See you guys.
See you at Discord.
Good night in Australia.
Good night.